Nero began when discussing the rise in technology and lack of integration between these new technologies and modern learning environments. How can we efficiently use these technologies to make the learning process more enjoyable for school-aged children? We looked into how people learn, taking from the positive impacts of embodied learning and different types of memory retention.
Perhaps the biggest problem that I noticed with students when I was teaching chemistry was with those who simply couldn't make the connection between what was happening on the macroscopic scale and what was happening on the microscopic scale. They couldn't visualize what was happening to the atoms and molecules. It was observing students who weren't able to do that that made me think it would be nice to find other ways of doing it. So it's certainly worth investigating whether VR can help those students who don't visualize so readily.
Virtual reality has the ability to impact different types of memory, leaving a longer lasting and clearer knowledge of subjects.
If you do not have any visuals, they won't necessarily understand the concept in geography, the language in English, the graphs in science. That's one barrier that you would have within learning, just because they can't visualise or interpret that information because they've never seen it before. If you have a VR system where you're placing the student in an unknown location to them that they couldn't ever imagine, actually having that kind of immersive experiment would be really stimulating for them and actually would probably really benefit the student because they would understand something a lot better, but also it would make them feel quite happy to experience something quite different.
After testing the use of machine learning for recognising movements that trigger actions within the game, we found that using a leap motion was a better way of encouraging body movement. Environments where players use their own hands to complete tasks was the most effective in getting people moving.
It's a way of teaching without forcing someone to sit down and open a book, but instead to engage them in something else. I think when you're in a classroom, a big part of learning is the social side of it as well, or can be. You're setting up kids to have interactions with one another, then having that sort of social interaction, having that shared space is really important.